In this chapter, let us learn to write regular expression for pattern matching in Python. After completion of this chapter, we'll be able to demonstrate different regular expression characters as well as regular expression symbols. Apply regular expression library methods for pattern matching. Finally, we'll be able to write programs to recognize, validate, and to extract interesting patterns from the given line of text. In this video, let us learn to build regular expression objects in Python with the regular expression library. Let us apply the regular expression library methods like compile, search, group to create the regular expression as well as to match the patterns. And also we will take up the different regular expression symbols that are generally used for pattern matching. Before taking up the pattern matching with the regular expressions, let us understand the traditional pattern matching without the language support. To understand the concept of pattern matching with the traditional programming, let us take up the phone number of this format, and we know the pattern here is the 3 numbers followed by hyphen, again 3 numbers, hyphen, and 4 numbers, and the length of this pattern is of 12 characters. Let us write the program in a traditional way to recognize the string as a valid telephone number. Here is the program. We write a function to check whether the text is a valid telephone number of this pattern. This is the pattern. 3 digits hyphen, 3 digits hyphen followed by 4 digits. First we need to check whether the length of this text is of 12 characters. If the length exceeds or less than that, then you return false. Then you make a check for 3 characters, whether they are of digits. Use a string function isDecimal on each of the character, 3 characters, and if one character fails, is not a decimal, then return false. Then you make a check for hyphen followed by check next 3 characters for decimal, and then followed by again check for hyphen, that we do it here, and finally we check for decimal, last 4 characters. And if all these tests, test for decimal, hyphen, test for again decimal, hyphen, and test for decimal, as well as the total length, if it passes, if all these tests qualifies, then we return a value true, saying that it's a valid telephone number. And at any point of time during all these tests, if we find that it doesn't obey the pattern, the character doesn't obey the pattern, then we return the value false. And this is the main program. We pass the text, and this actually qualifies the text, and this second one will not qualify because it contains only the characters. And you know, this is phone number function makes several checks on a given string to recognize the text is a valid telephone number or not. And there we have checked only the text, and if we have the telephone number found in between a string along with other characters. To handle this, have we need to add some more code to match this pattern for all these substrings in a sequential way. This is what we can do here. Let us say we have a message with the telephone numbers embedded in it, and for each I from here till the length of the message, we have to identify the chunk of the message of 12 characters, and then you check the chunk whether that chunk of message of 12 characters obeys the pattern rule, that 3 digits hyphen 3 digits and hyphen followed by 4 digits, and this has to be done for each of the substring which starts from here to till 12 numbers, then from second position to 12 numbers and 12 characters and so on. And it's really a time consuming job, time with respect to the computational time. The limitations of the traditional pattern matching is the consumption of time. We need to have several checks. And second is the length of the code. To validate a telephone number with hyphens in between requires nearly 10 to 15 lines of code. And third one is, suppose if we want to add the extension to a telephone number, again we have to write the code to recognize the extension, whether the extension is of 3 digits or 4 digits, and even it precedes the space or hyphen. And if you see the previous program, it fails to recognize or to validate the telephone number with the extensions. These are the 3 main limitations with the traditional pattern matching. And to avoid these limitations, we have regular expressions. And Python is a language which supports these regular expressions, which are called Regex in short, which represents the description for a given pattern of a text. Let us take up the example. We use the regular expressions /d to recognize the digit character. It means that it recognizes the single numeral between 0 to 9. And to validate the previous pattern for a telephone number, we can write a simple regular expression like this. Again, this is not an efficient representation or a regular expression for the previous pattern, but this is also one form wherein we can specify a format for the pattern which represents the telephone number of this pattern. We have 3 digits hyphen 3 digits hyphen followed by 4 last 4 digits. And if we have such regular expression pattern represented with the regex characters, we can reduce the length of the code, as well as we can quickly recognize or validate the pattern. And this, as I said, this regular expression is an alternative to is phone number function, and this regular expression will only matches the telephone number of this pattern of this type, and the other strings will not be matched with this regular expression. We can reduce the length of the regular expression pattern by using the brackets, curly brackets, braces after the pattern like this. D followed by the curly braces, and within the curly braces we specify the length of occurrence of the digit. That means 3 digits hyphen, again 3 digits hyphen followed by 4 digits. This is another the short form of a previous pattern. And how do we use the regular expression and the related functions in Python? All these regular expression functions are found in a library called regular expression, that is RE, and we need to import this RE module or a library with the import statement, and we need to generate the object representing the regular expression pattern by passing the string having this regular expression to a function called re.compile. This re.compile takes the string, raw string representing the regular expression pattern and returns the regular expression pattern object. Here is the example. Here we create regular expression object to match the telephone number, and to generate the object we have to pass the raw string. R represent raw string representing this regular expression for the telephone number, and this function will create the telephone number regular expression object for pattern matching. We have one more method called search, which searches the string for a regular expression pattern, and this method will return none if the regular expression pattern is not found in the string, and if the pattern is found in the string, the search method returns the matched object. And this match object have a group method that will return the actual matched text from the searched string. Let us take up the example. We create the regular expression object by using the method compile, and we pass a raw string representing the regular expression pattern like this, a simple pattern, and we apply this method search on the regular expression object. You can see here this is a regular expression object, and this is the string wherein we want to search for a pattern having this we want to search for a substring with this pattern as specified in the compile method. And finally we use a group method to extract the matched text from this the mo. Mo is a variable which represents the match object. Let us summarize the steps to use the regular expressions in Python. First thing is we have to import the regular expression module with the import statement, import re. Then create the regular expression object with the compile method, and we need to pass the raw string, otherwise the whatever the content that we pass, the /d or any other regular expression character, it is considered as escape sequence. So in order to avoid this this recognition as escape sequence, we have to use the prefix that string with r, which represents the raw string. Third is pass the string that we want to search into the search method, and finally call the group method on the matched object to return the actual matched text. These are the 4 steps that we have to follow in order to match any pattern that is present in a text or a line or even a file. while programming in Python. Role of parenthesis in pattern matching. We can add the parenthesis to create groups in the regular expression, and later we can use the group method of matched object to grab the matching text from the one group. Let us take up the example of creating groups in the telephone number. First, we create a regular expression object as usual with the compile method, and while specifying the regular expression, we have to create a groups by enclosing the set of regular expression characters with the parenthesis. Here we have specified first 3 digits as the first group, then hyphen followed by the second group with 3 digits hyphen 4 digits. And with the help of parenthesis, here we are creating 2 groups, and then we apply the search method on the regular expression object, which will create the matched object, and from there we can access the individual groups with the method group, which is associated with the matched object. And group of 1 retrieve the first group in the first match, and the group of 2 will provide or retrieve the second group of the matched pattern. And group of 0, if you specify 0 as a parameter, then it retrieves all the groups present in the first match. And if you omit this parameter 0, 1, 2, then again it retrieves the entire pattern. That means all the groups present in a given pattern, present in a matched text. As I explained in the previous slide, the parameter 1 represents the first group in the matched text, and parameter 2, if we pass, it represents the second group, and the group method will grab the different parts of a matched text, either as a group 1 or group 2, based on the occurrence of the parenthesis, or based on the number of times we have enclosed the regular expression characters in the pattern that is specified in the compile method. And also I told passing 0 or passing nothing to a group method will retrieve the entire matched text. And also, if you want to retrieve all the groups, in addition to not specifying the parameter or specifying 0, we have one more method associated with the matched object, that is groups. With this groups, you can directly retrieve all the groups present in the matched text. And remember, if you are using a group method, then you need to specify 0 or nothing to retrieve all the groups, and if you use just a groups, then it will retrieve all the groups present in a matched text. Here is an example. The mo.groups will retrieve all the matches. Actually, this groups method will retrieve the strings separately, wherein we can access these individual groups with the help of the variables. Here is a code where the mo.groups will return the tuple containing all the groups, and we have used the multiple assignment trick to assign all these groups. Since we know that there are only 2 groups, we can specify these 2 variables, and then you can retrieve these or print the individual groups with the appropriate caption. As I said, the groups method will return a tuple of multiple values, and we can use a multiple assignment trick to assign each of the group to a different variable. Suppose we want to match the parenthesis itself along with the grouping. What we have to do to match even the parenthesis? For example, in the telephone number, let us say first three digits have to be enclosed with the parenthesis representing the area code. In that case, how do we write the regular expression? The simple way is to use the backslash to escape these open parenthesis and close parenthesis. Here is an example. We consider the same pattern of telephone number, and this is the area code, and normally it is enclosed with parenthesis, and we know that the use of parenthesis creates a group, and at this point we don't have to create this additional group. Already we have created here outside there's a parenthesis. This represents the grouping, and this is actually the parenthesis we have to match, and to escape this effect of grouping we have to use a backslash. So this backslash will considers that this is not a grouping character, this is the actual character to be matched in the pattern. Same thing, we have to use a backslash for the closing parenthesis. This is how you can escape the effect of grouping while considering the parenthesis itself as one of the character to be matched in the regular expression. And if we do this, you can see if you write mo.group1 will return a string containing the parenthesis, because parenthesis also is considered as a matched character among character in the matched text, and the group of 2 will return the second group without parenthesis, where we are not enclosing that with the parenthesis. This is how you can escape the parenthesis, and it's the default meaning of grouping by adding the backslash. The role of pipe character. The pipe character can be used to match one of the many expressions. For example, if we write a regular expression like this, two patterns combined with the pipe, and this regular expression will match either the Batman or this second string. Let us take up the code. First we create the regular expression object by specifying this pipe. This is the first regular expression and this is the second one, and we combine these two things with the pipe to match one of the two expressions, that's the regular expression patterns. And then we search with the help of search method, and if we retrieve the result of search with the group, we get a first match, that is the Batman. Even though even though there is a second match, the search will always return a first match. And if you now give this as a string for the search, then this becomes the first match. Even though there is a second match, this will be returned with the group method. This is the first match. This is how you can combine the multiple options if you have multiple regular expressions with the help of pipe character. We can also use the pipe character to match one of the several patterns as part of the regular expression. Consider the example. If you have a number of strings like this, which has a prefix bat, like Batman, Batmobile, Batcopter, etc., and we want to match these patterns in the string. What we have to do is, we see that bat is a mandatory prefix in all these strings, and this BAT becomes the mandatory regular expression pattern, followed by a group with the options combined with pipe, the man, pipe, mobile, pipe, copter, etc. This is how we write the regular expression. This is a bat is a mandatory sequence pattern to be matched, followed by the group containing the optional text, man, pipe, mobile, etc. And if we extract the match for this string with the help of group, we get the bat mobile as a pattern. This group will returns all the groups present in the matched object, and if we retrieve only the first group, that means this is a grouping pattern. We have enclosed this with parentheses, and this has got a pipe, and group of 1 will return a mobile, not the pipe, because this is a mandatory pattern followed by the first group. This is how you can match the one of the several patterns as part of the regular expression to recognize the set of patterns with options. The role of question mark. This question mark is used to represent the 0 or 1 occurrence of a given pattern or a given group in the regular expression. Let us take up the example. Suppose we want to recognize bat man as well as bat woman, and in both the words woman and man, MAN is common, and this becomes the mandatory pattern, and bat is also mandatory, and WO is optional. It can be present or you can omit this. And to have this optional part, 0 or 1, whether it's present or not present, we have to create a group like this for this optional part, and we have to use the character question mark, which represents this will occur either 0 or once. 0 means no, not present, and 1 is actually it appears only once. With this we can match here Batman, because WO is absent, 0 occurrence, and here in this WO is present, 1 occurrence of WO, and you can see here the regular expression even recognizes a bat woman. We can also use this question mark to have optional area code in the telephone number like this. First 3 characters represent the area code, and normally it is optional to specify this area code, and we can create a group of this area code, and then we can use a question mark to have a 0 or 1 occurrence, and in that case we can have a matching the characters, the telephone number with area code and even without the area code. The role of asterisk character. The star represents match 0 or more, and we can use this character to match the groups or the patterns which are completely absent or repeated more than once or even once. And if you have a actual character in the text, the star need to be matched, then you need to escape the default behavior of star with the backslash like this. Let us take up the example, and in this we want to match Batman, Batwoman and Bat WO repeated multiple times. What we have to do is Bat and Man is a mandatory patterns, and we create a first group here with the parenthesis and we use the star. It means that this can appear 0 times, 1 time, 2 times and several times. This is how this the regular expression matches Batman, Batwoman and even to this string. And as I said, if the matched the pattern contains a star as part of the string, as part of the pattern, then we have to escape the default meaning of star, that is 0 or 1, 0 or more, by preceding this backslash. In that case, star becomes the character of the regular expression for pattern matching. It will not be considered as a regular expression character. The role of a character plus. The plus can be used to match one or more occurrences of a given pattern. Let us take up the example. Here we want to match the Batwoman and Bat W repeated number of times. To have such patterns to be recognized, we have to enclose this WO in parenthesis and we have to use the regular expression character plus. It means that at least one occurrence or more occurrences. This regular expression will not match for Batman because this WO has to appear at least once, and thus this pattern will not match to a Batman, and it starts with Batwoman and Bat WO repeated any number of times. You can see the result of this regular expression in these 3 different examples giving different input strings. Here you can see in the last example there is no Batwoman, only Batman. This will not be matched because W has to appear at least once in the pattern. Matching specific repetitions with the curly brackets. If you have a group of characters and you want to repeat them specific number of times, what we have to do is we have to use a curly brackets and we have to specify the repetition count. For example, if you want to repeat HA 3 times, then you have to write a regular expression with the group HA and you have to write the repetitions 3 as the count within the curly brackets. And instead of one number, you can even specify the minimum repetitions as well as maximum repetitions, and these 2 counters, lower bound and upper bound, need to be separated with the comma. And for this, let us take up the example, and here if you want to repeat HA 3 times, 4 times and 5 times, in that case we have to write the lower bound as a 3 here and upper bound as 5, and we can recognize HA 3 times, even HA repeating 4 times and the maximum 5 times. You can also leave out the first or the second number within the curly braces as a lower bound and upper bound. You cannot omit both, but you can omit either of one to you can leave out the minimum and maximum repetitions. And if you omit the lower bound, then it means that 0 or 0 up to maximum repetition, and if you omit the upper bound, then it becomes the the repetitions which start from the minimum number till the unbounded maximum. There is no boundary. Let us take up the example in the next. Here you can see we have a optional upper bound. It means that this regular expression will recognizes the pattern having HA 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and it is unbounded. Similarly, this regular expression will match a pattern with no HA because lower bound is not present, 0 or maximum 5 times. It means that. And it recognizes no occurrence of HA or 1 occurrence, 2 occurrences, and up to maximum 5 occurrences. Remember that curly brackets also will help to reduce the length of the regular expression. For example, if you want to match HA 3 times, very simple way of writing a regular expression is HA repeated 3 times. And you can shorten this by writing this form, HA, create a group, and then use a curly braces and represent the count 3. This is how you can reduce the length of the regular expression. The Python's regular expressions are greedy in default, which means that during ambiguous situations they will match the longest string possible. The non-greedy version, in case of curly brackets, which matches the shortest string possible, should have the closing curly bracket followed by a question mark. Otherwise, if we don't specify the question mark after the closing curly bracket, it uses the greedy mechanism which matches the longest string possible. Here is an example. Here we have written a regular expression to have a group HA which repeats either 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times. There is an ambiguity. If you have a string having a 5, whether to extract HA 3 times or 4 times, or the largest is 5 times. The greedy nature of regular expression will retrieve the longest string because there is a ambiguity of match of 3 repetitions, 4 repetitions, and even longest match. So in order to override this greedy nature of the regular expression, what we have to do is we have to use the question mark after the closing curly bracket. In that case, instead of retrieving the longest match during the ambiguity, it will returns the shortest match. That is the HA that is repeated 3 times. This is how the answer, the result we get if we enclose the question mark. Note that question mark has got 2 meanings in regular expressions. One is declaring a regular expression for non-greedy match, or even you can have a flagging of an optional group, that is 0 or 1 occurrence of a particular group of regular expression, a character or a pattern. And remember, these 2 meanings are entirely unrelated. They are not connected, totally different. One is with respect to the matching of longest or shortest string, and second one is for the optional the repetition, whether the particular pattern is present in the match or not present, 0 or 1 occurrence of a pattern. To summarize, we created regular expression objects with the method compile. We search for patterns with the method search, and also we created regular expression groups and used different regular expression characters and symbols for greedy as well as non-greedy pattern matching.